Today, we're going to share with you guys our 10 mobile income streams that we've had for the last 12 years while traveling full-time. What's up, everybody? My name is Dan. Welcome to Freely Roaming. One of the questions that we've been asked over and over again is how we sustain this lifestyle. And of course, that's not a simple question to answer. So what we've been wanting to do is make this video for you so we can better explain all the different things that we do to make this lifestyle sustainable. Now, over the last 12 years, our income streams have not always been the same. Out of these 10 income streams I'm going to share with you, we've had a combination of all or some of them over the course of our travels. Now, before we get into the individual ones, the best advice that I can give you is to diversify your income, just like you would diversifying your stock portfolio. At the recording of this video, this is the beginning of May 2020. We're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic around the world. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and even more people have had their income at least reduced drastically. So we're basically in the same situation as everybody. Our income has been reduced. But because our income has been diversified into these 10 different streams, we're in a much better position than we would have been back at the beginning when we only had one or two of these. So what counts for us as an income streams are basically two different criteria. One, that it has to produce a monthly taxable income for us. And the second criteria is that it has to be able to more or less stand alone without one of the other income streams heavily supporting it. Of these 10 income streams, 2 of them are primary streams that produce about 2/3 of our income. The other 8 are supplemental streams. Some of them have the potential to grow much bigger, but the other ones are pretty much going to stay where they are. So without further ado, let me start with the 2 primary incomes that we have. First one is my freelance web development business. Over the last 12 years of our travels, I've worked both as a full-time employee remotely for companies doing web development, as well as part-time or freelance employee working remotely. This is something that I've done for over 20 years of my life. So there's a pretty high barrier to entry for somebody who wants to get into this and be able to have a consistent and reliable income in web development. It is one of the easier careers to have if you want to be able to work remotely, but because of that, there are also a lot of competition. For somebody who's just getting into web development, chances are you're going to have to earn your trust with the people that you're working with, as well as displaying that your skills are valuable enough that they're better off going with you working remotely versus somebody that they can hire that comes into the office. So with each one of these, I'll also give you guys 3 ratings. Number 1 is how easy it is to get into it, basically the barrier to entry. And number 2, a rating between 1 to 10 on how passive this income stream is. And number 3 will be the scalability of this income stream. Basically, an idea for you between 1 to 10 on how much money you can make and whether or not this has the potential to become a primary income stream for you. So for freelance web development, I would rate this at an 8 out of 10 for barrier to entry. As far as passive income goes, this is a 0. This is trading hours for dollars. There's no way around that. As far as scalability, because there's no way around trading hours for dollars, I'm rating this a 3. And the reason why this is a 3 and not a 0 is because depending on what you do and how specialized you are in your field, you can start charging more and more money if you have the right clients needing the right kind of work done by you. So even though you're still working at an hourly rate, you can charge more money, which means you'll make more money and also possibly make more hours. And another thing you can do is start adding subcontractors under the jobs that you work on. So you'll become sort of a project manager and get other contractors to work beneath you. So in that way, you can scale your business. But you really cannot scale this as much as you want because there's always going to be a certain level of overhead when it comes to managing those subcontractors. So our second income stream is our real estate investments. Ever since we started traveling, we've always owned some form of real estate. At the beginning, we lived in our house that we bought a couple years before we started traveling. When we first hit the road, we didn't actually sell our house like a lot of people did. We also didn't rent our house because we didn't really know if it's something that we wanted to do for a long time. But in hindsight, it turns out that we did. But because we didn't sell it, our property continued to appreciate. And when we did decide to sell that house, we used the proceeds that we got from selling it to buy a condo that we ended up renting out for profit. So we did that for several years until about 3 years ago when we decided to sell that house and buy another house that we can rent on Airbnb. So we've had experience both with long-term rentals and short-term rentals, and it's actually a very, very popular way for full-time travelers to earn passive income while they're traveling. You can make a lot of money with real estate rentals, but of course the barrier to entry is that you have to be able to have a down payment. Depending on how much money you put down and how much money you're able to rent it for, that's going to determine how much money you make. So it's not something that everybody can do because you have to start out with some sort of capital. And also just to know the real estate market so that you can find the right property and set it up the correct way. It is not by any means a risk-free proposition. So I put the barrier to entry on this one at about a 7. As far as passive income goes, I wouldn't say this is a totally passive income because especially with Airbnb, there's a fair amount of work involved to communicate with the guests, to kind of work out, what you need to do, to have a cleaning person to take care of the place, especially when you're not able to be there like us. So as far as passive income goes, I would put Airbnb at about a 7 out of 10. And for long-term rentals, probably between a 4 or 5. And as far as scalability goes, it is scalable in a sense that if you have the money, you can continue to buy property and rent them out and manage them yourself. But it is not something that you'll necessarily want to do if you want to full-time travel. You'll probably at some point want to hire a property manager and do all this for you, but of course that's going to take away from the margins. So as far as scalability go, I'll put this at a 2 out of 10. So those 2 income streams make up about 2/3 of what we make. That means the next 8 income streams make up the remaining 1/3 of what we take home. So number 3, dividend stock investments. So with our dividend stocks, this is not money that we have in our 401k or IRAs. This is actually money that we pay taxes for that's free for us to use to invest anywhere else. So this is money that we've been able to put aside through years of working and also investing to be able to put back into work for us to make some more money. As far as dividend investments go, I'm going to make a whole other video that talks specifically about it. Basically what you would do here is you would pick and choose the right type of investments, whether it be stocks or index funds, that will give you the best long-term return and also give you the best either monthly or quarterly dividends. As far as a barrier to entry on this one, I give this a 3 because there is a lot of research involved and also you have to have the cash to be able to buy these. I wouldn't recommend somebody diving into this without knowing a lot about the stock market or just about investments in general. So you got to do your homework. It's a 3 because you can start out with very, very little money. As a matter of fact, you can use services like Robinhood, Webull, or M1 Finance to invest as little as $1 to $10. And they can do what's called fractional shares. Even if a share of the company you want to buy is thousands of dollars, you can buy just a fraction of it and still get the proportional amount of return based on what you've put in. So yeah, you don't have to have a lot of money to start dividend investing, but you will have to have a fair amount of money to see any reasonable return from it. Okay, so the 4th one is very similar to dividend investing. You have to start out with your own capital, and this is high interest savings. So high interest saving is basically a savings account that's FDIC insured that you can put your money in that will give you multiple times the amount of return that you would get in the traditional savings account. So this is something that's been really, really popular over the years when the interest rates are high, but it really depends on how the market is doing. Because the interest rates have been cut a lot by the federal government, you're actually not going to make as much money in today's high interest savings as you would have maybe 3 months ago. This is not one that you can necessarily count on right now, but as the interest rate starts to go up, you're going to be able to make more money in this. As far as barrier to entry for this one, you can also start with as little money as you want. Some of these bank accounts will require a minimum deposit, but some of the other ones require as little as $100 to be able to give you a reasonable interest rate. So barrier to entry, this is a 1. Anybody can do this. As far as a passive rating goes, this is as passive as it gets. You put your money in the account, it is insured by the federal government. You're not going to lose it up to generally about $250,000. So the passive rating on this is a 10 out of 10. Scalability, on the other hand, this is going to be rock bottom. This is a 1 out of 10 scalability because you're only going to get what you put in. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you get a 1% interest on $100. You're only going to get that 1% return. It's not going to be more unless the federal government raises their interest rates. So to be able to make more money through this income stream, you're going to need more money to put in. Okay, number 5 is this income stream. This is our YouTube partnerships. YouTube partnerships require you to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So you have to be willing to put in some work before you can actually see some return from this. So find a topic that you're passionate and are really knowledgeable about and just start making videos. You don't have to have a fancy equipment. You don't have to have a fancy YouTube set. You can start just as easily with your phone. Everyone's got a smartphone these days that can take amazing videos. So if you got something to share that you think people can benefit from it, give it a shot. As far as barrier to entry goes, this is probably about middle of the road, right at 5, mainly because even though anybody can shoot videos from their phone, people generally do better if their production value is higher. And also, if you want to be an expert in a particular subject matter that you're going to be talking about, you're going to have to put in a lot of research. And that's also considering the fact that you have to put in a lot of work to get that first 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time before you can see any return from this. As far as passive rating goes for YouTube partnership, it is sort of a passive income stream because once you build up a library of content on your YouTube channel, it will continue to make money over time. However, if you look at your YouTube analytics, you'll see that most of your views will happen within the first month of you uploading it. And over time, depending on what happens, there may be a topic that you've covered on your channel that will suddenly become really popular and you get a bunch of traffic and a bunch of people watching that video. But generally speaking, you're gonna have to continue to make new videos over time to keep that revenue up. So passive rating, I give this a 3 out of 10. As far as scalability, the sky's the limit. All of you guys have your favorite YouTubers. And if you ever looked into just how much potential there is in making YouTube videos, you know that some of these YouTubers are literally making millions of dollars on YouTube. But of course, that takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, but it is possible for anybody. That's why for scalability, this one gets a 10 out of 10. Okay, next one is our 6th income stream, which is affiliate marketing. You may think affiliate marketing is something that you can only do if you have a blog that has a lot of traffic, or if you have a social media account that's very popular. But actually, affiliate marketing is something that anybody can do. You don't have to have a popular blog or a popular website. All you have to do is figure out what affiliate programs pays the best and find creative ways to try to market those programs to be able to earn income from it. The barrier to affiliate marketing is actually very low. It does take some know-how to learn all the ins and outs of how everything works, but if you're willing to put in the time, anybody can do this. So I say this is about a 3 out of 10 when it comes to barrier to entry. And like YouTube, affiliate marketing is something that you have to constantly work at. You can't have a popular blog that has a lot of popular blog posts that will continue to make you money over time. But to keep all that traffic coming and keep all your revenues coming, you have to add content continuously to your website to keep everything relevant. That means even if it might seem like a passive income stream to do affiliate marketing, I probably put it at about a 3 or 4 at best when it comes to passive income. It is something you're gonna have to work for. Just like YouTube, the sky's the limit for affiliate marketing. There are literally people who are making millions of dollars doing affiliate marketing, and they're not necessarily your household names that you've heard of on YouTube or popular social media channels. So the scalability for affiliate marketing is again a 10 out of 10. Okay, for us, the 7th income stream is social media ambassadorships. This one is different than affiliate marketing in that you will have to spend time and effort to build up an audience that you're speaking to directly. And ideally, this audience focuses on a specific subject matter so that you can use that subject matter and attract companies to hire you as their social media ambassador. To try to get into this business is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, if you try too hard to look at this as a business, you're going to have a hard time attracting people because you lose the authenticity. On the other hand, if you're passionate about the subject matter, you can naturally build up a reasonably sized audience. But the trouble with that one is, the second you try to switch over to try to sell them something through a social media ambassadorship, you'll lose a little bit of credibility over time. So this is kind of a juggling act you have to play with. So I would say the barrier to entry, this is a 9 out of 10 because I do think most people are passionate enough about a subject matter to be able to build an audience behind it, but it will take a lot of work. And I don't necessarily think that it's something that everybody can or wants to do. And as far as passive rating goes, this one is going to also take some work. This is not something that will continue to pay without you doing anything. So I will put this at a 3 out of 10. And as far as scalability goes, I would say this is heavily depending on who you're working with and how much emphasis they put on social media campaigns. Some people can make a lot of money working with big brands, whereas other people can make just a couple bucks here and there. but the potential is there. So I put this about a 6 or 7 out of 10 when it comes to scalability. Okay, the next one sort of goes hand in hand with some of the things that we do like YouTube and social media marketing and affiliate marketing. But this one is different. Whereas YouTube and affiliate marketing and social media brand ambassadorship, this one is us working directly with our audience. And this is something like Patreon or any kind of membership sales. So what Patreon is essentially a way for you to work directly with your audience and have your audience support what you're doing by subscribing to your content. So essentially what you're doing is you're cutting out the middleman. You're not requiring your audience to buy something else to support you financially. What you're asking them to do is, if you like what I do, simply subscribe to us, help us support what we do by paying us a certain amount, either per YouTube video uploaded or on a monthly basis, a certain fixed amount. This one also has a relatively high barrier to entry because you're gonna have to provide a good enough value for somebody to be willing to pay you just to do what you do. But as more content creators are starting to do this, the more normal this will become. If you're a content creator already, this is something you definitely should look into doing. Because it requires you to provide a lot of value for people to be willing to contribute, the barrier to entry for this one is probably about an 8. As far as what type of income this is not entirely passive. It does require you to keep providing value to keep your membership numbers high. As passive income goes, I score this at a 4 out of 10. Just like YouTube, there are a lot of people making really, really good income on Patreon through their subscribers. So I say that scalability is right up there at a 9. Okay, the last 2 income streams are 2 things that we're just starting to get into. Number 9 is merchandise sales. As of last year, we started doing print-on-demand t-shirts, stickers, and merchandise through services like Printify. You can do this hand in hand with your audience that you've built through social media, or you can actually just do this as a print-on-demand business that a lot of people are doing worldwide. You don't necessarily have to have an audience to leverage this as an income stream. All you have to do is come up with great creative ideas and make products that people want to buy. I'll put a link down below to Printify, which is the company that we use. They make really cool products, anywhere from t-shirts to stickers to magnets to even jackets and sweaters and things like pillows and blankets even. I think pretty much anybody can do this, but whether or not you'll be able to come up with the right ideas to actually make money, that's a different story. So I'll put this at a 3 out of 10. As far as passive rating goes, this is right in the middle of the road, just because you have to constantly come up with products, especially when you don't have an audience to market to. What a lot of people will do is will take advantage of current popular things, whether it be politically oriented or memes or something that can draw people's attention. And you can even use these print-on-demand services in conjunction with websites like Etsy and eBay. But it does require ongoing management, so the passive income rating on this is about a 4. Like I said, a lot of people make a lot of money doing this, so it is scalable if you're willing to put in the work. So I put this at a 8 out of 10 scalability rating. And finally, something that we just started doing is stock photography and videography. This is a business that's gone through a lot of change over the last few years as more people are creating content, getting into photography and videography. You don't make nearly as much money licensing your photographs and videos as you did back in the day. But because of the popularity, more and more websites are allowing people to create accounts and upload their content into and try to sell them. The barrier to entry is relatively high because you have to be a relatively good photographer and videographer and have enough content to get accepted into some of these websites. So I say this is a 9 out of 10. But as far as passive income goes, if you have some popular content that's on popular websites, you can make money while you're asleep. But like a lot of other things, to make more money, you're gonna have to put in more effort. So I would say the passive income level of this is a 4. And as far as scalability goes, you can do this as a full-time job, and many people do, but you have to be pretty much at the top of your game to be able to do this. And if you are, this is probably about a 9 out of 10 when it comes to scalability. So that's it. Those are our 10 current income streams. Many of them we've done through the entire time that we've been traveling, and some of them we just started doing. A lot of you guys have asked us over the years just exactly how we afford this lifestyle, so I hope this one has helped answer some of those questions for you. In future videos, we'll get into more specifics of each one of these, how you can get into them, how it's worked for us, and if you are already doing some of these, and what things you can do to try to improve. As always, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys learned something from this. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button below. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see, and if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to ask us in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.